Hi guys! I keep losing my voice a little bit, so I'm trying to make these videos. If this one sounds weird anywhere and I seem a little I apologize. Anyway, I don't want to sound like Marge Simpson, but I'm really, really trying. And today, let's just jump right in. I want to talk about how a lot of my books have sort of a social commentary or you discuss pop culture events, issues we're talking about, issues we should be talking about. It's usually my characters are talking amongst themselves. They come from very different backgrounds, different cultures, and so on. And so they have a very different point of view from one another sometimes. And I like that. I like that. I like them bringing out these sort of different sides of the same thing. I really think that's important. That's something we all should be doing. And looking at the different sides. And it's not to say that what they're saying always reflects what I think. I just sort of put that out there. Well, what about this? What about that? So one of the things in my latest book, and I'm just going to go through this quickly, a few examples before I lose my voice. In my latest book that I'm working on now, there's a situation page that's talking about weight loss and how women of a certain age are supposed to worry about their weight because it's hard to lose weight, blah, blah, blah. So they say. Anyway, she is mentioning she read an article in a magazine, like I say. She was a little upset about it. George is like, let me guess. The next page, the page after, is an ad for weight loss something. Weight loss center, programs, weird diet stuff. I don't know. And that's just the point. How often does that happen? And you'll see it quite frequently, and which is harmless sometimes. Like if I'm watching a video on how to put on makeup and there's an ad right before for makeup, that's harmless. But if it's something where you're feeling bad about yourself, you're reading an article and you're feeling bad about yourself, or it's creating a new worry, and then suddenly the solution is right there and you can pay this much for it. That's just an example, something that I like to kind of throw in to make, just sort of make people think, to have a discussion maybe. I don't know. Another example in the new book, this is kind of fun. I have George talking to Paige about how he kind of screws somebody over in the political arena. And to make a long story short, Paige doesn't care for her, and her comment is, and this is how the chapter ends, I really don't care, do you? Does that sound familiar? If it doesn't, look it up. Look it up. I don't want to talk about the people involved. I don't want to talk about them at all. But if you look it up, quickly see what I'm referencing. Thought it was kind of a fun way to end that particular chapter. It fits in very nicely with what they are talking about, but you'll have to see the new book to know that. I won't get into it any more than that. Another example, there's one book I believe is The Devil's Move Like Honey. I have my characters discussing the movie Fight Club and what it is about. Everybody has a different point of view. Some people feel it's about consumerism. Some people feel like it's about the natural aggression that human beings have. It's natural to want to fight and be aggressive. I'm not explaining as well as they do in the particular chapter, but the characters have a discussion and they all seem to have a different view about what the movie is about, except Chase, who's too young and doesn't even know what they're talking about. Which happens a lot because he's only in his 20s. And the other characters are in their 40s. So they're like, you're too young. But there's this movie, Fight Club, and this is what it's about. And it's all like, no, this is what it's about. And they have a big discussion about it. And it's interesting because what each character says it's about reflects their character so well and their lifestyle and how they think and look at the world. It's fun. I love it. Another example. I have notes jotted down. I will sexual harassment. So my last book, And the Devil Will Laugh, they talk about there's a situation where where a man is being sexually harassed by a woman. She kind of takes a grab at him, and he's saying, if it's the other way around, if a woman is in a situation where a man takes a grab at her boob or whatever, she can slap him, she can push him, she can, kick him, whatever. And everyone's kind of okay with it. But if you're a man and a woman takes a grab at, what are you going to do? You can't hit her. Can't hit her. Can't shove her, because then you're the asshole even though she starts. And they have a big discussion about this too. All the characters kind of like, yeah, well, and at first they kind of think it's funny, oh, you're sexually harassed by a woman, but then it kind of, the reality of the situation comes up. They kind of talk about, what can you do? Like, and really, what can you do? What can you do? It's interesting, and I love the dialogue around it and how everybody kind of has a different point of view and adds something to the conversation. It's really fun. I like that. I like doing that in my books as much as possible. I really think it gives you something to think about as the reader, which is kind of what my goal is. When I'm writing, I want to entertain, but I also want to give you something to kind of think about a little bit. So what else? Well, I'm not going to give any more examples. I just want to my list. Generally, these topics are surrounding politics, like I said, pop culture events, things that we're talking about, things we should talk about. Another one that's coming up a lot, in this new book especially, is because Chase is half Indigenous, and because something happens. I won't get into it, but there's something very serious happens in the book that has to do with an Indigenous community and how it's dealt with. And Chase gets very upset. He talks about that a lot, and different times he comes up and the subject comes up, and he, from his point of view and his experiences, he brings up how he sees the situation. And I find that I feel like we're not always talking about that as much as we can. And I think it's important, especially as a Canadian author writing a Canadian book, to bring this up, because I feel like so often it's just pushed away. People don't want to talk about it. And I really, this book, I really kind of pushed it a little further. And I'm really happy that I did. I think it's important. I think that it brings what happens in the book. It's rather serious, and it brings up a very important discussion. And sorry, I told you I was losing my voice. I like the fact that I can do that, and that's one of the reasons why I write. Now, there's other issues too. I talk about racism. Anyways, read my last few books knows that I talk about racism a lot from different perspectives. And I bring it up a lot. This new book's going to talk a lot about sort of the liberal, conservative, not the political parties, but sort of which is what we're hearing in the news a lot, the liberal side of the liberal, kind of more liberal people, I should say, and the more conservative people, and sort of it's almost like they're ripping each other. Oh my God, I'm going to do my hair. Just ripping at each other. I'm right, you're wrong, and you're wrong, I'm right, and all this back and forth between the two. Yeah, there's a lot of that coming up. There's a lot of that. Anyway, this video is starting to be way longer than I meant to be. So the point is that one of the things I enjoy as a writer is bringing up these topics and these discussions that we should and probably are having. I think it's important. I like to bring it up with my characters. There are different points of view, as I said. But what do you think? Is this something you like seeing in books? Do you like reading to just be entertained, or do you want to put a book down and be thinking about certain things? I like that, but I mean, everyone's different. Sorry, I keep losing my voice. That's a sign. I better end this video now. Anyway, guys, like this video, subscribe, please. There's a little bell somewhere. If you press that, then every time I have a new video, you'll get them in your inbox. Thank you, guys. Thank you for dealing with my throat problem. I hope everything made sense that I said, despite that. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.